or creates one's attitude?
Goal. Context.
The achievement of your goal, right? I don't know if you've had teenagers, been around teenagers, or been a teenager yourself, but you deny a teenager access to their goal, and what kind of attitude do you get? Bad, nasty, and as my grandmother would say, funky. F-O-N-K-E. Funky attitude, right? At the same time, if you give a teenager access to their goal, how do they respond?
Good attitude.
Positively. And it's almost as if they purr. They want to cuddle and right? Other times you can't get close to those creatures, right? So an attitude is determined by a goal. So if I encounter a coworker or a member of the community who has a bad attitude, what is the one thing that I know about them for sure?
They didn't get their goal.
They're not achieving their goal, right? And so there are two ways that I can respond to them in terms of helping them change their attitude. The first is the easiest, which is to what?
Getting their goal.
Help them get their goal, right? So how can I help you, help me, help you, right? How can I be of service to make sure that you get to your goal? But what if their goal is not something that's within my power? It's not within, the city to be able to do this. And even if they couldn't handle it anyway. Then what becomes my responsibility as a helper? So I change their goal. That's what someone said. They said that I changed their goal. How does that work?
Not so good.
All right, let's demonstrate. Can I have one volunteer? One volunteer. Oh, just one. All right, good. All right. So, I'd like for you to put your hand up like this. I'm going to talk to the people, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
All right. So, I've been working out. All right. Sometimes when I'm in the gym and I'm doing my reps, people get me confused with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Really?
Right? Yeah. But you can't tell. I got a suit on right now, And so I've been working out and, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push his hand and we're going to see what happens. All right? All right. So are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Great. So on the count of 3, I'm going to push and we're going to see what happens.
Okay.
All right? 1, 2, 3. All right. Good. Thank you. Just give him a hand. What happened? Nothing happened. But what did you notice? What was going on with that exchange? It was a struggle. I pushed and he what? Pushed back. Nothing got done. Right? So when we get into these power struggles with folks, nothing what? Gets done. Point 1. Point 2. If I try to impose my will on someone, what is their natural reaction to me imposing my will on them? They push back, right? There's a reason why the sacred scriptures say, if someone slaps your cheek, offer them the other one. Because the natural reaction is to what? Knock their head off, right? You slap me, right? And so when we impose our will, and this is one of the things that as city employees sometimes we do, we operate within rules and laws and we have confines on the resources and the things that we can do. And sometimes we use those things as weapons as opposed to using them for tools for good. And oftentimes, so we'll tell people what we cannot do and what we will not do because of our confines. However, there are ways that we can use those confines to help them come up with a new objective or a new goal. And so my job as a helper is not to solve people's problem, but to give them information that they can now make new decisions and set new goals for themselves. I cannot do this. However, if you talk to so-and-so, they might be able to help you with something. Or I cannot do this right now, but if you come back at a different time, we might be able to work something out. All right? So sometimes as bureaucrats, we use those policies and procedures as weapons as opposed to tools for actually helping and benefiting change. All right? So what is diversity? Diversity simply is dignity and honor of being human. What does the word dignity mean? What is dignity? What's dignity? To be dignified.
Proud.
To be proud. To be what?
Just holding your head up high.
Holding your head up high. Dignity. Is dignity something that you have or something that you give? It is, in fact, both, right? So you can give dignity and you can also have it. Now, the interesting thing about dignity is if you don't give individuals dignity, they'll try to take it. I don't know if this happens in St. Peter's, but it certainly in St. Peter, but it certainly happens in the cities. And I'll be at a stoplight or at a stop sign, and there's a tribe of teenagers who are trying to cross the street. And I don't know why it takes them so long to cross the street. And I used to think it was because their pants were hanging too low, but I've seen them pull those suckers up and get moving when they need to do something, right? But one of the things that I noticed is that as they're crossing my vehicle, one of them makes eyeball-to-eyeball contact with me, as if to say, your kind of people, adults, don't ever see me any other time, but you will see me and recognize me now. What they fail to realize is I have no points in my license and very good car insurance. Right? But they're trying to get that dignity and honor in that particular time and in that particular space. All right? So what is honor? What's honor?
Respect.
It's respect. All right? How is honor different than respect? You go into a courtroom, you give the judge respect. Or you give him... She said attitude. Or you give him honor, right? So honor is respect at a high level. Who have we said as a society we will give high levels of respect to? To the military, men and women who serve, who fight on our behalf, right? We said we'll give it to our parents and our grandparents, our elders, that we'll give them honor, that we'll give leaders honor, all right? And then next, being. So diversity is dignity and honor and being human. Please raise your hand if you can answer yes to these next two questions. First, raise your hand if you purchased a ticket or you passed the test that made you eligible to be born on this planet. Good. None of us has done anything to bring ourselves here. All we did was respond to an invitation. I don't want to think about how that invitation came. It's disgusting. But we all accepted an invitation to be here, and we're trying to figure it out. And lastly, I was looking for a definition for the word human, and I was very surprised by what I found. I found that human has two definitions. The first of which is a noun that talks about being a biped, having opposable thumbs, a big brain, and a belly button. If you ever encounter a person without a belly button, be concerned. All right? Human. But human is also a what? An adjective. And what do adjectives do? They describe the noun. All right? And so what is it that we teach the smallest of our humans, our babies, our nieces, our nephews, our sisters and brothers? What if we tried to teach them about what it means to be human? That what? What do we teach them? We teach them about forgiveness. You can make a mistake and be forgiven for that mistake. What else?
Caring.
What's that?
Kind and caring.
To be kind and caring. What else do we teach them?
life in society.
Rules of life and society. All right. One more. One more thing that we teach them. What's that?
Respect.
We teach them respect. Right? And typically what happens when we go to this place, we talk about dignity, honor, and being human, and we teach our young people all of these things, we get to this place called respect. And the thing I think is very interesting about respect is that oftentimes, particularly adults, will say, you have to, what with my respect? Earn my respect. How many people have ever heard someone say that? You have to earn my respect. I have to tell you, that's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. You can never earn respect. I was a little guy in my dad's church, and there was a young lady that I was smitten for. And I think I was 9 and she was 14. Right? I like older women. And so I would do anything I could to get next to Ruthie. That was her name. And so one day I went up to Ruthie, and she was like, Andre, if you like me, you will do A, B, and C. And being the kid that I was, and I wanted to please her, what do you think I did? I did A, B, and C. And once I had accomplished that task, I went back to her panting. And she said, Andre, if you really, really liked me, you'll do X, Y, Z. So what do you think I did?
X, Y, Z.
I did X, Y, Z. I completed that task. I came back panting some more. She said, Andre, if you really, really like me, you will do 1, 2, 3. And guess what I did? I ran. Because it became very obvious that what? No matter what it was that I did, I was not going to reach the level of infatuation in her eyes that I wanted. I wasn't going to get to that level. I wasn't going to have that connection that I wanted to have. And all too often when we talk about, this kind